Pretty ominous looked up bunch of defenders there. What's up? Let's get it on.
Good morning, Colonel Moncrief.
Oh! Good morning. How you doing?
Brains in. Load. Order. Hard.
If it is your practice to do so, we invite you to bow your head and join us in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we are gathered today in celebration of the completion of the Security Forces Basic Officer Course, Class 23003. As they receive their Security Forces Badge and Beret, may they honorably represent all of the members of the Defender community, past, present, and future. We thank you for the cadre and their hard work and diligent guidance. May they utilize the knowledge and experience bestowed upon them to protect the rights and needs of those whom they serve. We thank you for the wingmen, their friends, their families, and their loved ones who have supported them in their journey to this moment. As trusted Security Forces officers, help them use their authority in a fair and impartial manner while maintaining the highest standards of professional conduct and personal integrity. May you cultivate their hearts with restraint and vigilance, humility and prudence. Protect them from harm as they run to the sound of gunfire and confront evil head on. May they never forget our fellow defenders who have paid the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. We ask that you safeguard all of our brothers and sisters in arms serving around the world. May the bonds and relationships that have been forged as classmates, defenders, and airmen guide them throughout their careers as they strive to uphold the legacy of our career field and the United States Air Force. In your name we pray. Amen.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Good morning. I am Technical Sergeant Kamila Beasley, and I'm honored to serve as your narrator for today's graduation ceremony. On behalf of the Commander, 343rd Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Robert Chance III, I am pleased to welcome you to the graduation of the Security Forces Basic Officer Course, Class 23003. The presiding officer for today's ceremony, Commander, 343rd Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Robert Chance III. Commander, 37th Training Group, Colonel John Goodson III. Senior Enlisted Leader, 37th Training Group, Chief Nicole Hicks. The guest speaker for today's ceremony, Commander, Detachment 1, Air Force Installation Mission Support Center, Colonel Victor W. Moncrief. Co-star family member and mother of First Lieutenant Joseph D. Helton Jr., Mrs. Jiffy Helton Sarver. It is also my pleasure to present to you our instructor cadre representatives who have led, trained, and prepared these officers to serve in the Security Forces career field. Flight Commander, Captain Efron Goose. Section Chief, Technical Sergeant Michael Lemaster. Instructors, Master Sergeant Patrick Curry. Technical Sergeant Daniel Fox. Technical Sergeant Michael Willis. Staff Sergeant Kyle Hall, and myself, Technical Sergeant Kamila Beasley. Furthermore, we would like to thank our partners from the Medical Readiness Training Center, 59th Training Support Squadron, Tactical Air Control Party, 342nd Training Support Squadron, and our very own medical operations staff in opposition forces, 343rd Training Squadron, for collaborating with us to provide realistic scenarios during our field training exercise, where the students had to endure a rigorous 5 days of training, living in the field, and conducting operations within an agile combat employment construct. Although time does not allow us to introduce all of our guests, we thank family, friends, and coworkers who joined us today for this occasion. At this time, we would like to introduce our guest speaker for this ceremony. Colonel Victor W. Moncrief II is the Commander, Detachment 1, Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center, headquartered at the Pentagon, with operating locations at Peterson Space Force Base, Colorado, and Joint Base San Antonio, Texas. He serves as the Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center Commander, Senior Representative to Higher Headquarters, U.S. Space Force. Colonel Moncrief is responsible for an operating budget of over $500 million and leads a staff of 25 military and civilian subject matter experts who manage enterprise-wide assets worth $20 billion while providing critical installation and mission support to the 37,000 Guardians and Airmen assigned to the locations across the globe. A 1994 graduate of the United States Air Force Academy, Colonel Moncrief has held leadership positions from the tactical to the strategic level at various echelons throughout his career. He commanded 3 times at the squadron level, and served as the commander of the 11th Security Forces Group, Joint Base Andrews, Maryland. In his previous assignment, he served as the Deputy Director, Force Protection in Chief, Air National Guard Security Forces, National Guard Bureau, where he was responsible for organizing, training, and equipping more than 7,400 Security Forces personnel assigned to the 90th Air National Guard Wing across 54 states and territories, ensuring security forces can meet both federal and state mission requirements. Please give a warm welcome to Colonel Victor Moncrief.
Thank you, Tech Sergeant Beasley, for that long and lengthy introduction. I will just say that all that means is that I love the Air Force and have loved the Air Force for 30 years. So thank you very much for that introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to talk to these defenders and to all of you today. But before we begin, you know, it was kind of dry as our defenders were coming in. So defenders, I want you to stand up. We're gonna do a little exercise here. What I want you to do is inhale. Deeper. Deeper. And when I say exhale, I want to hear a loud and thunderous roar. Exhale. All right, now we're ready to begin. Sit down. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor to be amongst you today as we celebrate the culmination of excellence, hard work, and dedication at today's graduation of Class 23003. This is a journey only the brave and the bold can make. And when you consider that less than 1% of our citizenry has the courage to don the uniform of our country, the steps these young men and women before you have taken to become defenders in our United States Air Force gives this event even more meaning. For they will be leaders in a time that sees a global return to great power competition. They will be part of a U.S. national defense strategy that requires speed and innovation more so today than ever before. And they will be part of a career field where leadership is the mainstay of everything a security force officer does. These young warriors are America's best, and I thank you, parents, grandparents, guardians, who are willing to make the great sacrifice of giving our Air Force your most prized possession, your sons and daughters. Taking an oath to the Constitution of the United States means that these chosen few believe that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are more than just words on some ancient document. They are inalienable rights, owed to all, and the brave defenders who wear our badge and beret are willing to sacrifice their lives to serve the greater good. They do so willingly, without any mental reservation, or purpose of evasion, so that we all can enjoy the rights endowed by our Creator. This is indeed a great day for you, our country, and our Air Force as we induct a new generation of defenders into the fold and pass on the mantle of upholding our freedoms to these dedicated officers. How about we give these outstanding graduates and your defenders a huge round of applause? I'd also like to take this opportunity to welcome the spouses, family, friends in attendance. Thank you all for your continued love and support of these defenders. A special thanks to the 37th Training Group Commander, Colonel Goodson, his senior enlisted leader, Chief Master Sergeant Hicks, the 343rd Training Squadron Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Chance, and his senior enlisted leader, Chief Master Sergeant Blanco, and all commanders, first sergeants, chiefs, military and civilian in attendance. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I'd be remiss, though, if I did not acknowledge Gold Star Mother, Mrs. Jiffy Helton Sarver, for honoring this ceremony with your presence. Ma'am, your continued dedication to our enterprise honors the legacy of your son, and I thank you for being here. Thank you, ma'am. Lastly, to the instructors who spent countless hours molding and forging ordinary officers into defenders. You are the unsung heroes who will instill both knowledge and lethality into these airmen. When things get chaotic, and they will, at the height of a crisis, it will be your training that these defenders will come to depend on, allowing them to ultimately win the day. I'm especially grateful for your dedication to this continued cause. Thank you very much, instructors. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the hallmarks of a memorable speech is that it be poignant but brief. Since I am no great orator, I will concentrate on being brief. Class 23003, I want to pass on to you a concept that was first introduced to me almost 30 years ago when I was a young cadet at the United States Air Force Academy. This concept became foundational in me formulating my own leadership philosophy and has guided me many times in both peace and war throughout my career. The concept comes from the Army, but I modified it to coalesce with our own Air Force core values of integrity, service, and excellence. And it's simply known as be, know, do. The first element is be. More than anything else, it is important that you be yourself. The character traits and life lessons passed on by your parents, guardians, when infused with our core values, makes you uniquely qualified to lead. It is this diversity of culture, experience, and thought that makes our armed forces the finest fighting force on earth. And it is these traits that will allow you to stand firm to your moral compass, especially when ethical dilemmas arise. Likewise, my fellow defenders, you must be flexible and open to new ideas. I heard famed comedian Steve Harvey say during a radio broadcast that, quote, if you're the smartest person in your group, you need to surround yourself with a new group of people. Your airmen are innovative, dynamic, and very resourceful patriots who want to succeed. You must tap into their experiences, their expertise, their drive, and realize that the smartest person in the room may be that airman first class, or that staff sergeant, or that wise chief who's been around the block a time or two. At the end of the day, airmen want to bring value to the fight. So as their leader, and with complete humility, you must be willing to tap into their strengths. This is how learning occurs, and this will make you ultimately a better leader in the long run. The next characteristic is know. In order to be an effective warfighter, you must know the mission at least 2 echelons above you. Understanding the big picture as a leader is important because it allows you to understand how your specific mission helps the larger organization be combat effective. Every airman, and let me repeat this, every airman is important regardless of rank or specialty. Air superiority for our nation cannot be achieved if pilots don't fly, maintainers don't keep the aircraft in tip-top shape, logisticians don't fuel this aircraft, civil engineers don't maintain the runway, and if your defenders aren't on the watch defending the base. We all have a role to play, and the sooner you realize this important characteristic, the better you can influence the operational outcome at your level. However, because leadership matters in this career field, the most important aspect of this philosophy is knowing your airmen. Let me say that again. Knowing your airmen. In our profession, the defender is the warfighter. And just like you must master the use of your M4, your communications radio, and so on and so forth, the JLTV you'll be using in a contested environment, you must know what makes your airmen tick so that you can motivate them to execute the mission. As their lieutenant, as their leader, you'll be responsible for ensuring they are properly trained and equipped to accomplish assigned tasks. You'll be responsible for ensuring they are progressing professionally in their career. And you'll be responsible for determining whether a defender needs a pat on the back or a kick in the ass. At no point in your career will you be closer to airmen than upon your graduation from this course today. So it is up to you. It is up to you to ensure your defenders are trained, ready, and lethal. And while you must have a passion for your mission, you must also have compassion for your airmen and get to know them on a personal level. What are their goals and aspirations? Are they married? Do they have children? Are there other influences that may be impacting their ability to succeed? Now, I know what I'm suggesting can be somewhat exhausting, but it is a prerequisite for leading defenders, and it is something you must master as fellow officers. Whenever I feel I'm forgetting the importance of knowing my airmen, I refer to a thank you card that I keep along with other sentimental notes in my daily planner. This particular note was from a senior airman who was going through what I can only describe as hell. The note reads, quote, Lieutenant Colonel Moncrief, my wife and I would like to take this opportunity, to thank you for the love and support during the loss of our son. It was special for us to have my commander be the first person by our side in our most catastrophic time in our life. Our respect for you goes far beyond the rank you wear on your collar. Please know that you will forever be in our hearts. End quote. I happened to be this defender's commander at the time, and during an earlier post visit, I learned that he and his spouse were expecting. This defender felt comfortable enough to divulge the fact that his wife had had complications giving birth in the past. So when the first sergeant advised that she was in labor, I made it a point to be there. Defenders, you need to be there for your airmen. But the only way you can do so is if you know them both professionally and personally. One of our country's great heroes, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs and Secretary of State, General Colin Powell, once said, quote, the day soldiers stop bringing you their problems is the day you stop leading them. They have either lost confidence that you can help or concluded that you don't care. Either case is a failure of leadership, end quote. Defenders, don't fail your airmen. Be demanding professionally, but get to know who they are and care. The last aspect of this philosophy is do, defenders. First and foremost, and let me be very blunt, do your damn job. Be an expert in your duties and responsibilities by familiarizing yourself with pertinent Air Force instructions. Spend time with your senior NCOs learning the ins and outs of our business, and continue to sharpen your intellect by being a lifelong student. Do your job also means being present and allowing your airmen to shine. Like it or not, you are the standard bearer, and you set the example that your defenders will eventually follow. If the LT is late for guard mount, doesn't do post checks, pencil whips the 1800, doesn't PT, and always takes credit when things go well, but blames when things go wrong, don't be surprised if your defenders follow your lead. Doing your job means being an expert in your field, as well as an example to your airmen. One of my all-time favorite quotes is from General George C. Marshall, only one of 9 officers in our United States who were ever promoted to the rank of 5-star. He also was Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense. He said there's, quote, "There's no limit to the good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit." Ensuring your airmen succeed should be your ultimate goal. For when they succeed, you succeed. But the other thing you must do is take time for your family and friends to recharge and sharpen your purpose for being a leader in our United States Air Force. There will be time, defenders, when your life will get out of balance, preparing for an inspection, being deployed, or during a contingency operation. These are all understandable occurrences where the service and your airmen demand your focus. However, you must be sure to realign the balance between your personal and professional life when the mission is complete, or else you risk your ability to remain resilient. If you have a spouse, do create opportunities to regularly connect and ensure they know how important they are to you. Do take time for your child's ball game, dance recital, or an opportunity to spend some one-on-one time for ice cream. Do call your parents regularly and let them know how and what you are doing for our Air Force. And do take leave and ensure it's on the calendar so your airmen know it's okay to do the same. Listen, of all the characteristics of this leadership model I'm explaining, maintaining a balance in your life will be the most challenging, as unfortunately leaders have a tendency to take our family and friends for granted, thinking that they will always be there. As someone who's been married for some 24 plus years, I had to be reminded many times by my wife that I was out of balance, to the point where I almost lost my family. Be better than I was. Model these behaviors early so they will last you as you progress throughout your career. As the sands in the hourglass of my career slowly begin to run out, I remain optimistic about our future and about future generations who will continue to choose a life in uniform. Now look, folks, there's no doubt that our society is evolving. And while there may be perceptions that our standards are eroding or that serving is no longer a noble profession, one only need to look at these officers here and realize that the heart, desire, and will to serve remains. And just like those great generations who served during 2 world wars, Korea, Vietnam, the Gulf War, as well as the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, I'm encouraged that so long as tyranny and evil exist, a new generation of patriots will pick up the torch and continue to defend our great nation. Of this I have no doubt, and neither should you. Defenders, the mission of our beloved career field is very simple. It is the same today as it was when our Air Force became an armed service back in 1947, to defend our air bases. When we do this, my fellow defenders, we keep our promise to defend our nation, to defend our way of life, but more importantly, to defend each other. So in closing, Class 23003, if you remember nothing else, remember, be yourself, know your people, and do the right thing. I wish your career is as fulfilling as mine has been, that you lead America's most precious resources honorably, and that you continue the traditions that make and keep our great country free. And so I end as I end many a conversation or a guard mount with 2 or 3 airmen that are always gathered. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and know that I love you. God bless you all. Defender Fortis.
Security Forces Basic Officer Course, Class 23003. Through personal dedication and excellence, you have successfully completed the Security Forces Basic Officer Course. You have completed 622 hours, 74 days of training, and left a legacy for future officers in implementing our Career Fields Defender Next initiative through Agile Combat Employment. Class 23003, to signify your accomplishments, each of you have earned the symbols of our trade. Today, each student has earned and will receive 3 items highlighting their completion of the Security Forces Basic Officer Course. The first is the Security Forces Duty Identifier Patch with a black border given to those assigned to carry out the critical duties of a defender. The second is the Security Forces Blue Beret. No matter the color or insignia, the beret is a trademark that identifies a particular group as being special and unique from the average soldier or airman. The third is the Security Forces Shield. The shield is a distinctive and proud emblem denoting the authority of Security Forces members. Though first introduced by Strategic Air Command's Elite Guard, the root of the Security Forces beret, as it is worn today, can be traced to the security police that received a special level of training from combat operations in Vietnam during Operation Safe Side. The beret was officially adopted for worldwide use in 1976. Class 23003, prepare to graduate.
Right. Hey.
Colonel Moncrief will present the team with the Security Forces Duty Identifier Patch and their certificate. Friends and family, please feel free to make some noise, take photographs, and celebrate your graduates.
Go time.
Major Ali Amasat. Squadron Leader G.M. Khan. Captain Logan Arndt. Captain Brandon Murray. First Lieutenant Samuel Durbin. First Lieutenant Michael Renteria. First Lieutenant Bradley Scott. Second Lieutenant Tristan Barton. Second Lieutenant Sean Biddick. Second Lieutenant Ryan Bryson. Second Lieutenant Kevin Hafferty. Second Lieutenant Joshua Curd.
Let's go! Hey, Guardian! Get back to that cold weather. Dallas is waiting for you.
Second Lieutenant Logan Dinsley.
Yeah! Commander! Yes! Let's go, LCW!
Second Lieutenant Kayla Faircloth. Second Lieutenant Casey Folk. Second Lieutenant Tiffany Fry. Second Lieutenant Cameron Green.
Go, baby! Woo!
Second Lieutenant Michael Hart. Second Lieutenant Alexis Haskell. Second Lieutenant Landon Knowlton. Second Lieutenant Cole Lauer. Second Lieutenant Dalton Lundry. Second Lieutenant Hugh McCorkle. Second Lieutenant Daniel Montgomery.
Hey, shake that thing off! Go! Come on! Come on, Tatum!
Second Lieutenant Mitchell Stratton. Second Lieutenant Ryan Tim. Williams. Second Lieutenant Victoria Winter.
Get low! Long and mighty.
Class 23003, as graduates of the Security Forces Basic Officer Course, you have successfully completed one of the most demanding officer courses the Air Force has to offer. Each and every one of you should hold your head high, knowing you have completed this challenging course and passed all tests, both mental and physical. At this time, we would like to recognize the individual achievements of those students who have excelled in both performance and academics. Awards will be presented in the following categories: Distinguished Graduate, Outstanding Performer, and the First Lieutenant Joseph D. Helton Jr. Leadership Award. The Distinguished Graduate Award is presented to the student who graduated with no unsatisfactory performance-based evaluations, received above a 90% academic average, qualified on their initial courses of fire as measured by the Air Force Qualification Course, and are recommended by all cadre members for performance in leadership, teamwork, conduct, and attitude. Your distinguished graduates for Class 23003 are Second Lieutenant Cameron Green. Your second distinguished graduate is Second Lieutenant Daniel Montgomery.
I'm proud of you, Daniel! Hercules! 777!
The next award is the Outstanding Performer Award. The Outstanding Performer Award is determined by a whole person concept rather than academic or performance skills alone. This award is presented to the student who consistently displayed leadership, followership, problem solving, and adaptability. This student is selected by the Security Forces Officer Course cadre. The Outstanding Performer for Class 23003 is Second Lieutenant Dalton Lundry. Thank you, Colonel Moncrief and Master Sergeant Curry. The final student award is named in memory of First Lieutenant Joseph D. Helton Jr. and is presented to the student who has demonstrated the highest standards of loyalty, dedication, and superior leadership throughout the course as voted by their peers. Lieutenant Joseph Helton was commissioned in 2007 from the Air Force Academy. While stationed at the 6th Security Forces Squadron, MacDill Air Force Base, Florida, Lieutenant Helton was selected to deploy to the 737 Expeditionary Security Forces Squadron in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. While deployed, Lieutenant Helton volunteered to fill a short-notice 365-day deployment with Detachment 2, whose mission was to train Iraqi police officers. During his deployment, Lieutenant Helton gave the ultimate sacrifice. Lieutenant Helton was 24 years old when he was taken and is the first Security Forces officer killed in action since Vietnam. He is revered for his leadership, dedication to duty, and the highest standards of loyalty. Mrs. Jiffy Hilton Sarber, will you please present the final student award? The recipient of the First Lieutenant Joseph D. Helton Jr. Leadership Award for Class 23003 is Second Lieutenant Cole Loud. On behalf of Class 23003, Second Lieutenant Lout would like to present you with a small token of our appreciation. You and Joseph are forever part of the Defender family. We will never forget the great example of a security forces officer that he always embodied. Your presence here and your involvement in our course means the world to all of us.
Hi, I would just like to say I'm not here because of anything that I did. I'm not here because of what happened on September 8th of 2009. I'm here because of who Joseph was every day up to that point. He was very humble. He was always trying to help somebody else who was struggling as he went up, and he was always his own best competitor. Somebody asked me a question yesterday, and it made me think. I think it took a lot of courage to ask the question. And I was asked, with the way that we exited Afghanistan, how did that make me feel? And my initial response was, I just don't think about it. And then I thought about it. And while the way that we left was perhaps not the way that we would have wanted to, we made an impact over there. Joseph helped a couple of interpreters come over to the United States, some of who remain in contact with me. And I heard a story about the kids who were outside watching a school being built that the security forces were obviously doing security about. They just sat there all day watching the school being built because they had never had a school. And for all the people who were exposed to a different way of life, a different way of thinking, to think that we wasted our time over in Afghanistan would be an unfortunate thought. Sometimes we leave an impression on people, we change their lives, and we don't know it. It doesn't happen until later. So remember that as you go through your daily lives. You all have an opportunity to be a hero, just by a smile, just by helping out a hand when somebody is struggling. And then when you're struggling, I'll hope that a very deep voice comes into your subconscious and says, don't be a weak sauce.
Thank you, Mrs. Helton. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Class 23003, as you take the first steps across the threshold as a security forces officer, you must always strive to uphold the standards of a pledge all defenders live by. You must remember that the badge that you have just been issued is a living symbol of the authority vested in you. Your actions as security forces men and women will have a lifelong impact on countless people and will reflect directly on yourselves, our career field, and United States Armed Forces. Captain Goose, you have led the training and development of these defenders, airmen, and officers. We are honored that you will officially graduate Class 23003 and administer the Security Forces Pledge. As our newest defenders take the Security Forces Pledge for the first time, I ask all graduates of Class 23003, as well as all current or retired Security Forces members, to please stand.
I'm a Security Forces member. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I'm a Security Forces member.
I'm a Security Forces member.
I hold allegiance to my country.
I hold allegiance to my country.
Devotion to duty.
Devotion to duty.
And personal integrity above all.
And personal integrity above all.
I wear my shield of authority.
I wear my shield of authority.
With dignity and restraint.
With dignity and restraint.
and promote by example
and promote by example
high standards of conduct,
high standards of conduct,
appearance,
appearance,
courtesy,
courtesy,
and performance.
and performance.
I seek no favor of my position.
I seek no favor of my position.
I perform my duties in a firm,
I perform my duties in a firm,
courteous,
courteous,
and impartial manner,
and impartial manner,
irrespective of a person's grade,
irrespective of a person's grade,
color,
color,
race,
race,
religion,
religion,
and sex.
and sex.
I strive to merit the respect of my fellow airmen
I strive to merit the respect of my fellow airmen
and all with whom I come in contact.
and all with whom I come in contact. How old?
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. From the storied traditions of the Strategic Air Command's Elite Guard in 1956 to Operation Safe Side in the Vietnam War and beyond, the coveted Blue Beret has been a symbol of security and justice. Only we honorable few earn the privilege to wear it with great authority. Now, for the first time, these graduates will join the ranks of the Blue Beret.
Class 23003, Dodge your berets!
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the graduates of the Security Forces Basic Officer Course, Class 23003. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Graduates, you may be seated also. Lieutenant Colonel Chance, would you please come forward to provide closing remarks to Class 23003?
Thank you. Hey, can I walk away from that thing? Hey, so first off, I'd like to say thank you to the families for coming out. Like Colonel Moncrief said, your support for these folks through their time in service up to this point, through their months of training here and everything, is more valuable to them than you could know. And they're going to need that as they go forward into those first assignments as flight commanders or wherever they may be off to. We're going to talk about it a little bit when I talk to them, but you know, the struggles, the long nights, the challenges that we didn't see on the horizon, the things that kind of catch us off guard that we got to be ready for. They will rely on you for that support when they come home, to show the emotion that they just can't maybe show in the halls of the office. So thank you for that support, and thank you for that going forward. Colonel Moncrief, thanks for coming out. Right? I know that the team was really excited to be able to have you out, and I appreciate the wisdom imparted on the new Defender officers. I hope you guys can go back to however we're broadcasting this and take notes. Right? I wish you'd have been able to have a notebook out, because there were a lot of things in there that were worth jotting down, right, for perspective. And so I encourage you to go back and do that. Two things, right? I'll leave you with, and then we'll get out of here. Right? The first one is just be ready, right? What does that mean? And be ready for what? We don't know, right? We don't know what we're going to be walking into in the next few years, right? Or in the next generation. But I can promise you that it's different than Colonel Moncrief and myself have led in the last 20, 25 years. And for a lot of you with prior listed experience, it's different than what you've seen in the past to this point in your career. We don't know what it'll look like, but we know it'll be different than that, right? And so be ready. That means mentally, physically, professionally, making sure your folks are ready. As the Colonel said, taking care of your folks and making sure that everybody's in the space where when it's time, we're not trying to get ready, right? And then the other thing I'll ask of you is to kind of remember the feeling, right? That when you put the beret on for the first time officially as graduates, the pride that goes into that. If the family was able to watch, it's not just a quick throw it on, right? There's tugs and tucks and making sure everything's just right. Why do we do it? It's pride, right? We've earned it. You've earned it, right? You deserve that little bit of time. When the nights get late and you get frustrated with things going on, it's a little bit easier to lose that pride that goes with the beret, right? When you're walking out of the commissary or the BX, your hands are full of bags and you got to set them down and put your hat on. We're not willing to do it half-assed. remember why. Remember the feeling of pride when you put it on for the first time. And find a way to get back to that if it starts to slip. Right? Defenders can read it all over your face. If you're not proud of it, why should they be? Right? So I ask you to do those two things. Congratulations. Well done. You guys have definitely earned the badge and the beret. Wear it with pride.
Go guard.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Chance. On behalf of the Commander, 37 Training Wing, Colonel Lauren Crochane. Commander, 37 Training Group, Colonel John Goodson. Commander, 343rd Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Robert Chance. And the staff of the Security Forces Academy, we thank you for attending Class 23003's graduation. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the singing of the Air Force song, followed by Class 23003's final memorial push-ups.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, zooming to meet our thunder. At 'em now, give 'em the gun, give 'em the gun! Hey! Down we dive, spouting our flames from under. Off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame or go down in flames. Hey! Nothing will stop the U.S. Air Force. Prepare for hero push-ups! Prepare for hero push-ups!
Let's see it green.
Best push-ups for Airman First Class Elizabeth M. Jacobson. Down, up,
Jacobson!
Yes, O-Shelp is for Staff Sergeant Brian McElroy. Down, up,
McElroy!
This push-up is for Tech Sergeant Jason L. Norton. Down, up,
Norton!
This push-up is for Airman First Class Lee Bernard E. Chavez. Down, up,
Chavez!
This push-up is for Staff Sergeant John T. Self. Down, up,
South!
This push-up is for Airman First Class Jason D. Nathan. Down, up,
Nathan!
This push-up is for Staff Sergeant Travis L. Griffin. Down, up,
Griffin!
This push-up is for First Lieutenant Joseph D. Helton. Down, up,
Helton!
This push-up is for Senior Airman Nicholas Alden. Down, up,
Alden!
This push-up is for Staff Sergeant Todd T.J. Labreco. Down, up,
Labreco!
This push-up is for Airman First Class Casey Ruiz. Down, up,
Ruiz!
This push-up is for Senior Airman Nathan C. Sarton. Down, up,
Sarton!
This push-up is for Technical Sergeant Joseph G. Lem. Down, up,
Lem!
This push-up is for Staff Sergeant Louis M. Bonacasa. Down, up,
Bonacasa!
recover,
Recover!
This concludes the graduation ceremony. Thank you.